Hi, today I wanted to talk about a Houdini tool that I have been building recently. It is a Gen AI Houdini assistant tool that uses an LLM to basically create code, and it also can fix code for you, and it can also use a message mode. Um, Basically the code is about 1,000 lines. However, there are these snippets that uh, use obviously strings, and it explains the AI, the content. I've seen this Reddit post, which I will obviously include in the description, and give a shout out to the person that has written this. It's a prompt engineer, someone who's been working in tech for over, I believe they worked over 1,000 or 10,000 hours of prompt engineering. They have come across a method that gets the best results from AI and LLMs in general. So I've used these methods to basically create different uh, inputs into AI that I would have to copy and paste every time when I'm basically vibe coding or I'm looking for some answers online. And I basically built a tool in Houdini where I don't have to go online, or I don't have to copy and paste this prompt every time to get a better answer from AI. So that it just saves me time, and it makes my job a bit easier. I think it will be pretty useful in studios when you're working on production and you don't have to go to third party websites, and sometimes you don't even have access to internet, so this sort of, as long as there's library available, it sort of cuts the middleman. So it basically, to start off, it obviously you can run over stuff. It's the same as a Wrangle, apart from the numbers, which have obviously been included in the new Houdini versions that weren't there before. So I didn't include that. I don't think it's been used a lot in production currently. And obviously, as you guys know, production always has a Houdini that is, in most cases, in previous versions. I wanted to make sure that I was sort of running from a behind on version, and I don't think numbers are necessary, so I didn't add them. The modes, it has obviously message mode where you can just type a message. I can just say hi, how are you today, and it should give me a message. Still, obviously based on Houdini because of the prompt that I've used. It also has a status. Um, you know, it's obviously the answer you get is back in Houdini um, assistant. So I believe this is important. These are obviously grayed out because it's a message mode. And I made it so obviously the message comes out word by word. I think it just looks a bit fancier, to be honest. So the second thing I wanted to show is create code. So basically you can either find the attributes. So if I just type it without any attributes, if the node path is empty, if you press find attributes, nothing will happen. But if you, let's say if I was to include a node here, sphere out, it will automatically get the attributes. You can just actually get the path, and if the prompt's empty, it won't work either. But you can actually just get the path and press find attributes, and it will just find the attributes for you. Like let's say I had another angle where I just created, I think everyone knows this, so we just say foo equals 3, and let's drop a null, do a quick out, and then if we were to find node q out, it will find foo as well. You can get rid of it, and it will just say see. You can disable it, and it will just disable, so the attributes won't get passed into the prompt, or it will just say the attributes are empty or they're unknown. In our case, obviously we do know them. We have foo, and then we could just say, um, could you could you please help me turn this sphere in red and move it plus 10 in Z? And we can generate, and it will just hopefully just give us something that will be code, and it won't have any commentary because the commentary toggle was off. So in on here, basically, what you can do is a few things you can do. You can either just create a node, which will just connect it to the node that you're obviously currently viewing, and it should hopefully turn the sphere red and move it. So here we are, sphere should have been moved in Z, and it's obviously, as you see, the code is here. Or you can actually just copy the code if you want to, just copy it yourself. That should also work. Do the exact same thing in Z, as you see. And then it will do the same exact thing for Python. You don't have to, you can do this does the exact same thing for Python. Could you move this sphere plus 10 in Z using Python? Obviously, it's a bit more difficult, so the code we get should be a bit more difficult to, like, obviously a bit more complex than Vex. That's why using Vex in Houdini makes things much easier. Um, so we will get hopefully a code. Let's say, takes a little bit sometimes when the tokens that you're getting back are a bit more complex than the tokens that essentially uh, that we were getting earlier, which were very little. So we should just be able to create this and see. I think this works quite nicely because now this doesn't work, and what we can do is say OK, and we have the fix mode. So once you go into fix, it will create another box. You can just say um, the code I have is not working and it's erroring out. Then you can look at the error. Obviously, invalid node type name. It's invalid node type name. I'm hoping that it will just fix the code and we will get a new code which we can just copy. So obviously I think the fix is quite useful. Obviously I use fix a lot more than I use create because I like to create my own stuff. So there you go. I think it was a good example. It gave me a code that didn't work, which does tend to happen with LLMs. I think we all know. But having the fix there really helps. It creates, as you guys see, it creates a transform node based on Z. More thing I wanted to show is, let's say, I have a wrong code here. I'm just gonna say, let's just use an integer. Foo equals 9. And we can just leave it as is. I think it's just a fix. So let's say you're done with this, you don't want to mess with this anymore, you can just press clear, it'll just go back to normal. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give any attributes, I'm going to disable attributes, I'm not going to give any node type, I'm just going to say here is my code, and I want, so currently it should be in, obviously in origin, it's orange, this sphere is orange, I would like it to be purple, and add plus 10 in Y, as well as fix foo attribute, which should be 40. It's my favorite number, so we'll just go with that. We'll add a code commentary this time so that it will explain what it is. And if I just press this, so as you know, the node path is empty. It should still work as intended. As long as obviously you're given a prompt, it should hopefully give you a reply. And here is the code, which is obviously written in this side, and it also gives you a message at the end, which if you press copy code, it should just copy the code. The message doesn't get involved, and you also get the explanations on top of them because I added commentary. I think this works quite nice. You can also press create node, and it should just create a node. which is right here. You can just connect. The thing is, if you don't have your node path, obviously it doesn't know what to connect it to, so it will just create a node that would be in the middle. That's why having a node path helps, but it's not necessary. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, Thank you for, I guess, watching this.